Yay! I am live here and getting my tea ready. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully you can hear me all right. I'm inside today so that I don't have to battle the wind. The weather here is really, really crappy. So yeah, Mount Shasta is covered in snow. I'm really glad that I don't have a full moon celebration to get to this evening because, well, not only is the mountain covered in snow, but it's so windy out there and just, terrible weather. But there's a lot of people, obviously, that like the snowfall. They want Mount Shasta to be covered in snow. They see her warming up as a bad thing. And one thing I want to mention is a lot of people think that the water that comes out from the headwaters in Mount Shasta City Park is like this gushing headwaters, where a lot of people go and they'll fill up bottles from any size, right? From like a little water bottle to those big, what are they, like 5 gallon maybe, big blue containers that people put water in, and that's their primary source of water. Anyways, they are led to believe that this gushing water is being supplied from snow that's melting on the mountain. It's like, you guys realize there's not that much snow to keep this water like flowing, right? We're not taught in school about these underground water sources. They want us to think that fresh water is scarce. They want us to think that all of the materials on Mother Earth are scarce, when in reality, when we're doing what is right by Mother Earth, when we're not spraying her with chemicals, when we're not doing different, deforestation practices, all of the things that humans are programmed to do, she is, provides things in abundance. We can have fruit trees growing everywhere for people, fruit trees, bushes, and all of these things, so that nobody has to go without. So yes. Aaron says he is doing good. Thanks. How about yourself? Hopefully your mom's surgery went well, Aaron, and hopefully she is recovering quickly with all of that. Yeah, it's kind of scary to put your life in the surgeon's hands, right? So hopefully that all went well. And hi, Mike. Yes, we are talking in the live chat about how, some people don't have a good relationship with their parents. I think it's really important to try to have it. When I first graduated and started going away to college, I was very distant from my family. And then last year, for the first time in like 5 years, I think, I got to go over to Ohio to see my family. And it was a really, really awesome reunion and special time. Family is really important. And, we're in this war. Friends are a great thing. But at the end of the day, a family is the ones that you can really hang your hat on. Well, I guess in my case, I can't really say for you, because obviously different families have different loyalty. But I know for a fact that my family has my back, even if they don't agree with my views. If something were to happen, they would be right there beside me, behind me in battle, to make sure that I am protected. So yes, definitely feel bad for all of the children that are in the CPS, the foster care system, obviously not only getting passed around, and all the corruption that is involved with the what I call the child pimping services, CPS, where, like every other inverted thing in our world, their MO is to take a child from. This isn't all the time, right? There are parents that are, heroin addicts that are passed out. They go in and take the kid from the parent, but, for the most part, if they can go in and take a child from a parent who refuses to jab, refuses to send their their child to school, refuses to have a birth certificate. They can go in and take the child from these parents who go against the system and then turn around and put that child in a home where it's going to be with parents who are, inverted, who are pedophiles, who are going to put the children on not only abusive, emotionally, mentally, even sexually, but also putting them on medicines. And foster parents get more more money for the more pills, for the more issues that the child has. So it's kind of like an incentive. You go and take a child from their parents. Oh, well, now little Johnny is depressed, so now he needs to be put on antidepressant pills. Little Johnny taps his feet too much in school. Now he needs to be put on prescription meth. Okay, here's more money. And they can just pile it on. I've seen on Instagram, there's a family with like 7 kids, I think, maybe even more. Anyways, a lot of foster kids, and one of the videos was the mom doling out all of the pills for the children for the day. And I'm like, wow, how many pills does your child have to take? Like, and all the long-term side effects, especially just Adderall alone, prescription meth, it's like, it's linked to, rotting their teeth out. So they're going to be having more prone to cavity issues, losing their teeth earlier. It's going to age them faster. When you take any types of stimulants, even caffeine, it kind of speeds up the body. Obviously it stimulates you, but your age clock, if you will, it turns the hands of time faster and actually ages you when you take these things. So meth, I don't know if I'm even allowed to say these words without getting banned on YouTube. So hopefully I don't get taken down. They are recently, I'm banned on Facebook, and 2 people just got their, 3 people that I know just got their accounts, blocked, disabled, banned. So a lot of people are getting taken down right now. And obviously it's extremely discouraging, after you lose the first account and you're just like, I'll just make a throwaway account and not even put a banner on there, just put my profile picture and go until they kick me off. So it kind of definitely helps to get the first one off, rip it off like a Band-Aid, and then not give so much passion to keeping the account. Just do the damage that you can while you have it, and then hopefully continue on. Hopefully you can get back on Facebook, but they're making it even more hard to make accounts if you don't have a phone number. Most people only have one phone number, so how are you supposed to make a new account with a new number? You have to keep changing your number or whatever. So yeah, definitely encourage people to stick with it, but I know how discouraging it can be to be banned, to be disabled, to have everybody taken out. I'm kind of laughing because it's like, at the end of the day, these Satanists control the platform. So when we're saying we're going to battle against you, they're like, delete, and then they laugh. It's like, all right, instead of getting mad, I'm just gonna laugh about it, whatever. All right, let's see what's going on in the live chat. King Manny says, I got tomatoes and lettuce on my garden. Very cool. Hopefully the growing season was good for you this year. Around Mount Shasta, the growing season was really bad. The winter didn't stop until late into the summer. It was extremely hot. And obviously chemtrail-y, and then now the winter's already started before harvest time, so that kind of stinks. But hopefully other people are having good luck with their gardens. I definitely encourage people to grow their own food, especially in this time of, we're going into a time of a tribulation where we've already seen them reporting about different ships being stuck offshore. They're not unloading the ships. They're not docking, unloading, shipping out all of these supplies. So they're causing, delays in I'll spill my tea, in the supply chain. So they're creating famine, right? And that's not even considering all of the chemtrails and droughts and floods and everything else that they've been doing to manipulate the weather to make it so that you can't grow anything in the first place. But during the golden age, obviously, I will be encouraging people to grow their own food, but we also can implement things so that not only are there, fruit trees growing when you walk down the sidewalks in the town. I'm thinking of Mount Shasta City Park. There's an actual, stream that goes through the park. So many fruit trees and stuff could be planted right along the stream, but going down, just following the water, and then be naturally watered by the stream that's going by. But as far as, having grocery stores, having greenhouses, I've talked about this before, having greenhouses attached to the grocery stores where you can have an orchard that you can walk through and pick your own apples and pears and anything, having different permaculture designs around each of the trees so you can just, it's a living grocery store, right? And obviously on the roof of the other the main building, it can have vegetables and other potted beds growing other things. So I really look forward to the golden age, and I know that it can, Eric was saying that if humans didn't have to do like the everyday tasks, if we had robots to like the Jetsons, do all of the everyday tasks that people don't want to do, humans may become lazy. And well, you know what? The golden age, you have the opportunity, the option to do that if you so choose. Or on the flip side, if you have the ambition to go and live your dreams, I want to make sure that the supplies are there for people who came to this earth to be builders and be artists, and even those that wanted to study medicine, having educational systems that actually teach advanced topics. I definitely encourage people to homeschool, but for people that don't want to homeschool, there obviously should be the option for them to send their children to education centers or whatever you want to call them, and actually be taught the truth of our reality. And if the parents want to go in and learn with them, then that's fine. Having doctors that actually know how the human body works, and they prescribe like herbal remedies alongside of a change with the diet and other fasting, natural medicines and healing methods, rather than the crap that we have now, the medical malpractice, if you want to get technical, I guess. All right. Mike says he's glad that I reconnected with my family. Me too. It was really awesome. Aaron says 30 days for me of fascist book. Nazis. Yes, they are. They're getting so much worse. It's not really surprising, because in every arena they are getting worse. What just popped into my head, the subject was the jabs, right? Every jab, it's like they can get worse and worse until, it's like, how bad does this have to get before humans realize that something's wrong? How obvious do the inverts have to get before humans just like, wow, that is an obvious invert, right? I don't know. They're just posted to the disclosure group recently. There was like this really obvious invert, and they're being promoted in the ads on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. And well, they're getting more and more obvious, and it's just a joke on humans. How bad do things have to get before people wake up? And some people, unfortunately, never wake up. Daniel says, hey, how's it going, Daniel? Round Part says, hello, hi, welcome. Blue Hummingbird says, hey. And Aaron says, please share this video with social media. Yes, please and thank you. I'm being heavily shadow banned. So yes, if you are my subscriber, remember that I go live on Sundays at noon and Wednesdays at 3:33. So just make sure that you make it a mental note, put an alarm in your phone or something, because YouTube's not going to alert you, or let me know, and I can even send it, like the link to you on other social media sites before I go live so that you can join us. Hey, AA, how's it going? I was looking into that Zamzam well. And it was interesting, obviously coming from a biblical background. The story of Abraham and Hagar, for those who don't know, Abraham is promised to be the father of many nations, and him and Sarah, his wife, are really old. So she says to Abraham, take my maiden and produce a child through that. I don't know what she was thinking, because personally I would never put myself in that situation, because obviously you'd be super flippin' jealous of this other girl, right? Like, it's obviously going to cause problems. But anyways, it did cause problems, and Sarah said, send this girl and this child away from me. And in the Islamic text, it talks about her, wandering, and I think it was that Ishmael was stomping his feet. He was thirsty, and he stomped his feet, and then this well started springing up. And that is what it's talking about. But it also talks about the same well in this. In the Bible, I think it was Genesis 16. I grew up in going to school, Christian church, and a Christian school too. But 17:31. Yeah. Genesis 16:14. The well called Bir Lahai Roy. I was trying to see what the connection was between these two wells, and one site did say that they were the same, so that was pretty cool. But anyways, I was going to say that I grew up in church and stuff, and we'd have to do what we call speed drills. So you had to hold your Bible, and then the teacher would tell you, the reference, and then you had to speed through and figure out what whoever's the fastest obviously gets the prize. And that's pretty cool. Anyways, so back to this well. It is a really interesting story, obviously, and whether it's true or not, I don't doubt, that it could happen. Anything could happen, and there are this, natural freshwater sources all around, because it's underneath of us. But the whole, what they're doing now, charging people for bottling and doing all of the processing that they're doing, they're hurting the water most definitely in what they're doing. For instance, they have, Mount Shasta water. People in other countries pay ridiculous amounts of money for a bottle of Mount Shasta water, and they take the pure Mount Shasta water and they treat it. First thing that they do is this ozone. I don't know if it's the first, but one of the things that they do to it is ozone treat it. The FDA requires all of the bottling companies, at least in this country, to ozone treat their water. So even if it's not fluoridated, it's ozone treated, and it really hurts the water. It takes it from this pure state, and it's whatever they can do to break or disrupt or hurt, whatever we're giving us. They're not going to give us the pure form of that thing. They're not going to give us pure holy water. They're going to use it against us. Take the holy water and then run it through, I don't know, sewage or something, and then give it to us as a joke on humans. So, yeah. Blue Hummingbird says, I'm built like an invert, but I'm not. Is it hormonal imbalances? Well, some males have female biomarkers, you can have a mixture of each, right? It's not that every male has all male biomarkers and every female has all female biomarkers, right? If I had all female biomarkers, I would be extremely soft and feminine. I'd probably have a higher voice like this, and I just wouldn't be able to do what my soul came here to do. So ultimately, you want to take in as many biomarkers as you can when you judge someone, and they are trying to mess with our hormones. Atrazine is being heavily used all over the place, and it was found linked to making male frogs lay eggs. Mercury is also heavily used and has been, linked to male birds being homosexual. So there are a lot of things that they're doing to attack us, and even just starting in your mother's womb. I personally, don't trust any prenatal vitamins. I don't know what are in them, but I'm not going to be taking them because I understand the reality that we're in, and the ones that are in control of our reality have a sinister agenda. So the more that we take things from them, the more that we plug into their system, going to get prenatal vitamins, going to get ultrasounds, an ultrasound here, an ultrasound at 2 months, an ultrasound like now and now and now. Each ultrasound is doing damage to the baby. Like, it's an ultrasound. There's actually an interesting... Ultrasounds, 8 reasons it's not safe or painless for your developing child. I will put that in here if you guys are interested in reading that. So all of these attacks during the pregnancy, right? And even to try to give your mom during childbirth, right? Trying to give her medicines to dull the pain, which can cause complications. Trying to do things that, will lead down the path to, now we're in an emergency, we're in a C-section, we've got to chop you open. Then, as soon as you're born, the eye goop, the jabs, the circumcision, it's like so many things are here to turn against us, right? To mess us up from birth, to really hurt babies and make life hell, ultimately. Round parts. I actually have Twitter pulled up here. I tried to type in this name, but I got to somebody else's profile. I think I typed in Bevy. That was my problem. Is it horrifying house guest? Anyone with 13.5K followers, I run the other way from. And if they don't have any pictures of their own hips, then I would be even more running the other way. Obviously, I have some trust issues when it comes, especially to people that are extremely popular. I'm just trying to scroll down their page and like, whoa, if this is them, then that is an obvious dude. Okay.
How are you? So busy. I'm going to be busier if get girl get like
So is this the person that's making all of these other memes? See, sorry, they posted this thing about Heidi Klum, and they have on one side fake and the other side reality. It's like, what is fake about this picture? It actually looks like they have an Adonis belt, so there's nothing actually fake about it. I would really watch out for this person because they're posting some things that are very questionable. If you know if this person's the one that's making these memes, please let me know, because I've been asking about them. A lot of people post the same memes here that look exactly identical to these. Yes, it is. Okay. Now, thank you for bringing this person to my... Yes, I think they might have posted one time a picture of somebody, a pretend pregnancy, and then they posted their own self, and I was like, who's the person that they're comparing it to, because it looks like an invert. So it's an invert comparing themselves to other inverts. Ooh. That's hilarious. All right, I'm gonna have to do... I would run completely the opposite way from that person. Okay. AA says, is having all biomarkers of one's gender the best? I would say no. Like I was saying before, if I had all female biomarkers, it would be like really soft, round, feminine features. And ultimately, my soul came here for war. So if I looked like the kind of girl that you could just go and, push over, then what kind of a war goddess is that going to be? Like, I need to be how I am, a more athletic build, and let's go. Don't be saying these things. You guys are trolling, you're going to get in trouble. Okay. Mike says you look pretty. Thank you. Blue Hummingbird says that's interesting. Thank you for sharing this. Absolutely. Thank you guys for all being here. AA said, can people from any faith, tradition, and or religion be raptured? Well, I don't really believe in the preacher of rapture as it's preached in the Christian circles. That was one of the first things that I stopped believing in when I started to really read the Bible for myself. But so there's two different things, right? There's the whole idea that people are going to be just zapped out of their clothes en masse. I don't believe in that. But people that don't want to be here during the tribulation, right? We play a game of consent. So there are ways for them to essentially be taken out of the game before crap hits the fan type situation, I guess. So it's kind of a hard question to answer. But going along the same lines, people want to talk about, can people from any religion or faith go to heaven? And somebody, I think it was Mr. JN, asked on a previous video. He's not here, so I'll probably have to retouch on this later, but let me just read the question. Can you explain the heaven and hell theory? Like, basically they say we'll either go to heaven or hell. How do we know if it's just a fear tactic to make us afraid of death? So these kind of things go together here, talking about heaven and hell. First of all, you should not be afraid of death. Death is not the end. Your soul is going to continue on. Basically, it's not whether you go up or down based on whether you believe that somebody died for your sins or whatever, right? You can believe that somebody died for your sins and go through life and make, be the crappiest person, doing evil, lowering your vibration. And, no matter how much belief that you have in this innocent blood sacrifice, it's not going to shoot you up to heaven, right? Your vibration, the things that you do in this world are what's going to determine, if you have a high vibration and you go up, or if you have a low vibration and you go down. So people from any religion or belief, ultimately, you can be an atheist, right? You can say God is not real for sure. And if you do good, though, right? If you are vegan and you do what you can to treat people right and raise your vibration, then obviously you're going to go up. And it'll be a little bit embarrassing for you when you get there and you meet your creator face to face. While we're on the topic, for those of you who haven't heard it before, atheism, I call it ignorantism because it relies on a complete ignorance of where we are, what we are, and why we are here. Where we are, obviously, an enclosed earth, stationary plane, being watched and judged by many. What we are, souls in physical matter, souls that will continue on after this life is over, and why we are here. Ultimately, one of two things: that you came to make this world a better place, or you came to make it a worse place. And unfortunately, over time, I've said this before, those that come in here to play for the dark side have gotten more, have gotten their numbers, their ranks have gotten overwhelming compared to the souls that say, okay, I'll go in here and try to play for the underdogs and play for the light and fight back against these evil forces. At this point, unfortunately, it's complete control. They control everything, like everything. It's hard to... Hey Tyler, how's it going? Just saying hi, I'm busy tonight, wish I could stay in chat. Much love. Have a great evening. Josh says, best religious advice from all the major ones, don't be an a-hole. Yes. AA says there seems to be some non-inverts out there amongst the inverts. Well, not in any position of influence or on Facebook ads or Instagram or anything. Like, it's pretty overwhelming. But, if you guys ever have somebody that you come across that you aren't sure if they're inverted or not, I definitely encourage you to join the Transvestigation Disclosure Now group on Facebook. I can actually send a link here really quick and get you to that. Post their picture and we will if they're famous. If they're not famous, you're going to want to post to the uncensored group. If you post people that aren't famous, it tends to lead to bullying, and we can get in trouble for that. So we put the bullying in the uncensored group, so that in case it does get taken down, the disclosure group still gets to stay up. The reason that the disclosure group has stayed up so long is because we have really strict rules about not using the T word, not vomiting, really strict rules in there so that, our members are protected from investigation. And that's why it gets to stay up. Hey, Renee, how's it going? Aaron said earlier, it's not gender, though. Gender is a social construct. Forensic science deals with biology. We only sex the pelvis or sex the skull, etc. Yes, there are different biomarkers that, for instance, forensic anthropologists will look at. If you were a crime scene investigator and you walked up to charred remains and you have bones to only work with, you need to know if that bone is that of a male or a female. Obviously, the tinier they are in general, the easier it is because their skeleton will be more obvious. And if you haven't seen Transvestigation 101 yet, I definitely encourage you to do that Transvestigation. I don't know why it's always hiding from me, my own video. Okay. Thank you guys for all joining me today. Hopefully you are having a great day. It's really crappy weather outside, or else I would be out there. Wrong button. Okay. Transvestigation 101, 29,000 views. I'm pretty surprised that they haven't taken it down yet, actually. That's surprising. Okay. Let's scroll down here through the chat. AA says, thoughts about reincarnation? Absolutely. I do believe in reincarnation, and the older the soul, the more likely the times, the more chances they would have to come into this reality. And you can choose to come in or not. So it's a game of consent. And yeah. Renee asks, what is the subject today? Today, I am answering questions from the live chat, and I do want to retouch on some of this stuff I talked about on Sunday because it was really windy outside and the video didn't end up that great. So I was talking about the origins of the soul, and how source, being this point in time, and from that point in time, everything is moving forward. Time is moving forward. There's no going back. And time is affecting all souls, whether it's the time that's inside this physical matter with the sun and moon moving over us, or the time in the grander scheme of things, that started at, well, I don't know when it started, but it's been going for a long time, right? And it's a linear thing. There's no such thing as time travel. And over time, the soul can take different forms. Obviously, when your soul comes into this physical world, like my soul is taking the form of the physical vessel that it's in, right? So it will be taking the shape of me, of this physical girl in front of you. But if I was in a different being, if I was in a cow body, right, my soul would be taking that form. And it makes sense to me that if your soul wants to take on different properties of different species, different entities, right, you would go into it, and then after you go onto the other side, your soul can retain that form if you want, or the properties of that animal. You understand what I'm saying? So I was thinking about this topic and asking basically, what the soul kind of is shaped like, I guess. And what was brought to my attention was that there are two main groups that argue, and one supports the theory that souls, were originally like a worm, and snake like. And the other side says that it is more dragon-like. And as I explained before in last week's video, talking about how, a new soul coming into existence would be more like, like a new human coming into existence is a sperm going into egg, this combination. The soul starting off as a worm type entity, and then over time gradually developing into something much, much different. And I kind of side with the side that says the idealized version would be something like a dragon. Raya in The Last Dragon was pretty interesting to actually see how they animate and how they show the dragon actually moving in this video. So maybe that's something that we could watch together in the future, or if you want to watch it by yourself, I definitely would check out the programming, and it's always interesting to see what they are programming humanity with. But yes, so that's pretty interesting. Let me know what you think about that. The whole dragon debate. Obviously, if you're coming from a Christian circle, you're going to be probably programmed to see dragons as evil, Nakash and Reptilian as evil. I've stated before that one of my really big pet peeves is when truthers, especially non-vegan truthers, will sit there and talk about how evil reptilians are, or Nakash and all of these entities. Well, they usually don't say Nakash. They usually say reptilians because Nakash are hidden. Nakash are the snakes, and they also farm, they also find reptilians tasty. So Nakash were, higher on the food chain, but they're also hidden from humanity. Humans, truthers want to blame reptilians while they are farming and doing lots of evil to other species. But ultimately, these other species, Nakash, reptilian, Jinn, they can all choose to do either good or evil. Even the inverts. The inverts can choose, whether they're going to today, right now, stop doing evil or continue doing evil. Obviously, when Satan is in charge, they kind of have a vested interest to continue doing evil, right? The benefits that they get from being in Satan's world and playing for Team Satan, the riches, the fame, the leadership positions, being protected by military and other, other factions, and going against that, they can lose everything, right? And it would put a target on them. So, a lot of them have a vested interest to stay doing evil, at least for the time being, and knowing that they literally control everything. It's kind of not really the wisest move to basically say, okay, let's go purge them all. First of all, how would we even do that, right? They have underground bunkers that we don't know about. They control the military and other factions. They have all sorts of clones, right? So you wouldn't even they could put a fake one that looks like right in front of you. You kill them, and then what? It's like, oh yeah, I killed this person. No, you just killed their clone, you idiot. So it's kind of how do we even go about that? So unfortunately, figuring out a path to force them to purify and continue on. If you follow the rules of the Golden Age, then we can continue on together in peace, right? Starting a Golden Age with a bloodbath is not the line that I want to choose. Obviously, the powers that be are pressing forward with their depopulation agenda. So they are trying to cause all of this bloodshed before their new world order. And we can only do the best that we can to prepare ourselves and understand what attacks the enemy has planned for us, and, counter them, and ultimately survive through the tribulation to create a golden age. Aaron says, human destiny takes many experiences or lives. We can't do it all in just one. It's premature to think we can when you think about it. Yes. And humans are just the most recent of Yahweh's creation. Before humans even came into existence, different species like dragons, which are a type of reptilian, Nakash, the Jinn, they were center stage before humans came into existence, and they had, I don't know how many cycles each, right? So it was like when the dragons were first created, maybe they had thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of cycles. I don't know, and how many different types of dragons are there? So it's an interesting question. But before humans came into existence, some of our souls chose to come into whatever species was center stage at that time. So it's interesting when you see, the slit eyes, especially knowing that our souls, there's information about them in their original form being more dragon-like. The whole concept of the reptilian eye shining through actually being, your soul's true self shining through. And obviously, the powers that be, we often, I always talk about how they're inverted, how they're hybrids, but I usually don't talk about how they are. I'm getting crammed over here. I've got some two ladies with some martinis sitting like 2 inches away from me. But anyways, they're hybrids, they're inverted, and they're demon possessed. So it's like a triple whammy. And I often don't talk about the demon possession part, but it is a really important part of the equation. And especially what comes to my mind is the Papa Bear demon, the pedophile demon, the Panda Bear Eye, P Bear. We see it all the time. And this demon, enters a little boy when he's sodomized. This demon can really confuse that little boy to, confuse him to being used to this behavior, to enjoying this behavior, and then to go and cause other victims, right? So you can have, a young child who's also going out and offending other little children. So you really need to be careful who your children are with. Not, if I had a child, especially a little boy, I would not be like sleepovers and all of that stuff. You have to be really, really cautious about this. And it's not just, pedophile children and pedophiles that you have to worry about. The inverts, they're in every town. Their children are going to be in class with your child, right? They have children too, and their children are going to school. So you need to be careful about the influences that are in your children's lives. But let's get off this pedophile demon subject. And one last thing I will say, Nicki Minaj, the fake anti-vax truther, has a child who they have literally nicknamed Papa Bear. Okay, they are putting this pedophile pride in our faces, and truthers are still saying that Nicki Minaj is a hero of some sort. I was talking to my mom and I brought this whole subject up. I'm like, I can't go and kill him in real life, so I'll just take my time and destroy him on social media, right? Use my platform in as many ways as I can to, symbolically kill him for doing this. And ironically, posting the meme with him holding a dildo on stage got me a 30-day ban on Facebook for sexual content.
They always tell me you make the best salads. Because I put everything in there.
It is?
Yes, you did.
AA says the majority of people belonging to Abrahamic faith/religions don't believe in reincarnation. Yes. I think that the Bible says there's only one time for a man to live and die or something like that. Yeah, they're not taught reincarnation, but they are, I think, for the most part, taught that the Christ, pre-existed before his incarnation, pre-existed with God. So yes, let's see. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of the feedback in the live chat and all of the bonding that we have. Okay. Renee says time is inexorable. For me personally, it's abstract concept, so it's dead and afterlife. Interesting. Okay. Aaron says, in the East, reincarnation is not a belief, it's common knowledge. Yes, it's really cool to see how many all the different religions and stuff, and especially some of the Eastern astrology, how they only factor in Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. From my studies, the ancient cultures only named those wandering stars because you can see them with the naked eye, and Uranus, which is an obvious sodomite joke, only came into, well, I guess it always was in existence or whatever, but it was discovered when telescopes were, invented. And it's just part of a really immature, childish joke with Pluto, the dog, running after Neptune, coming from Uranus. So it's just like, wow, for a really old soul, Satan is extremely immature. Like, ugh. Okay. Mike says, how does one know your true soul's identity? That's an interesting question. Obviously, the powers that be try to put fluoride in everything. If you're still using fluoride in your toothpaste, definitely stop with that. If you can get unfluoridated water, then the next thing would obviously be, the pre-processed foods. They try to get it in there to cut us off from our true selves, to make us docile. But basically purifying yourself, getting off fluoride, purifying your diet is really going to help to clear up, your energy centers, if you will, and help you clear up the brain fog too. Try to help clear the connection that you have with your true self that the powers that be are trying so hard to separate us from. And the experience can be really painful. It can be really torturous. I just had a pretty, what I would consider, torturous weekend for the most part. Saturday at 8 a.m. I started dry fasting, and I didn't drink anything until Sunday at noon. Well, actually it was like 11:40 something. Anyways, I drank a glass of tea, then I had sleepy time tea at night, and then I went into a 24-hour dry fast on Monday. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just, what is the purpose of this? So yeah, I'm trying to be on the fast track of purification, and it can be really excruciating and torturous, but it is on the fast track, and the results are definitely worth it. I was looking at myself in the mirror this morning, I'm like, I'm looking extra beautiful today. It must be the dry fasting. So yeah, I definitely encourage people to start dry fasting, even if you're not vegan. You can start with wet fasting first, drinking liquids, and work your way up to it. It can also help, to change you over time, to change what you crave, right? So if you're not vegan, I've seen people in fasting groups say, I used to be non-vegan, but through fasting, it has changed my taste buds, the chemistry of my whole system, what I crave. So I definitely encourage that, obviously. Hey, J Star, how's it going? I'm pretty far behind in the chat here, so let me see what's going on. J-Star says, just came in. How's it going? How's everyone else? It is going great. Thank you for joining us. Sorry for taking so long to get to the chat here, but I appreciate you guys all. Blue Hummingbird says, how old are you now? I am 28. September 17th, 1993 is my birthday. I am a Virgo. Aaron says, Michael, intuition connection with your spirit soul connection. The third eye looks inward, not outward. Yes, absolutely. Blue Hummingbird says, reptilians are the worst. I believe they are more beings on this earth that can walk and talk. Why do you say reptilians are the worst? Dragons are a form of reptilians, and I will wait to see your response and why you think that they are the worst. Aaron, I don't believe that Iblis created the reptilians. I believe that Yah created reptilians. The species that came from Iblis and the other jinn shapeshifting into human form were not reptilians, they were giants. They would have been jinn hybrids, but there's also hybrids that are, human mixed with Nakash, human mixed with reptilian, and other, combinations like that. Genetics, how jinn genetics, genealogy, genius. All of these words have the name in it, but genes and genetics is something that they're really focused on, and breeding family lines. Obviously, you've heard about them being obsessed with keeping their blood pure, but also breeding different lines for different things. Yeah, I would say that my lineage definitely has a strong leadership quality about it. A lot of, supervisors and bosses and not like CEOs and stuff like that, but yeah. Okay.
I don't know when that order came in.
J Star says, how do I spot or pick out a possible reptilian? That's kind of a complicated question. We're talking about reptilians or hybrids, because like I was saying, reptilian would include jinn and other reptiles that walk the earth, right? Regular reptiles. J-Star says, also, I think the origin of the soul as a form of is endless. To be honest, just my opinion, more likely to be within your soul family, or astrology will influence an individual's origin soul. Just my opinion, though. So, I would agree that astrology has something to do with it, but I think that the astrology that we have, is a reflection of the astrology, our souls. Like my soul was still a Virgo and had these characteristics before it came into this world, right? And if I had the choice, I would always choose to come in as a Virgo. So I'm not 100% sure how that works. But it's also a game of chance. There's not much wisdom if you come in as the same exact thing every time. But anyways, back to the astrology thing. I believe that Yah kind of, when he created this world, incorporated the different soul groups like they existed before, and he kind of mirrored them, if you will, in this world to a certain extent like that. But I do agree that we have soul families, reincarnation in soul families, but obviously I don't agree about the soul being endless. Obviously, a soul continuing to exist is by consent. And most souls, if they continue to get darker and darker and more clown-like, they don't want to exist anymore. That's the natural reaction, right? Unfortunately, there are some souls that prefer the darkness, going to the depths of corruption, and then coming back. And those are some sad, sad souls. But yes. And I also talked before about how before this world came into existence, being, nothing else to do, really, there were souls that were bored to death. And even now, I mean, this cyclical relationship, nature of our reality is what I was trying to say, can be very boring to some. And yeah. Thoughts about unicorns? I don't really have any thoughts about unicorns. Kind of interesting. I think that Yah made a lot of different species, mythological creatures, but whether unicorns are one of them, I'm not really sure about that. Blue Hummingbird says that Trump is definitely a reptilian. I'm not sure what kind of hybrid she is, but yes, she is not fully human. She is a female, and she is demon possessed, just like every president and first laddie. So, yes. J-Star says, so if the queen and the rest of the royal family, yes. An invert is someone who inverts something, someone who tries to live life as the opposite of what they actually are. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. I don't want to get banned from YouTube for saying the T word, if you will, that sensitive T word, that if you don't like a T person, then you're a bigot. No, maybe it's just that we don't support degeneracy and confusion. Okay. Renee says, reincarnation is a controversial topic. Me personally, I don't believe, and I can't, because if you think about it really hard objectively, it makes no sense at all. I think that reincarnation makes perfect sense, especially, well, this is just my perspective, obviously. Thank you for sharing yours. The fact that this game, if you will, is not only what all of the souls inside are focused on, it's what all of the souls, well, not all of them, the majority of the souls are outside this world, focused on this world. So it kind of comes down to you're either inside or you're outside. And for me personally, it's like there's already things in my life, if I could go back and try again and start over and go through this whole experience and awaken and try to put the pieces of the puzzle together, it's something that I would want to do. And so, the factor of my own personal desire to come back in and knowing that this world basically is what keeps us entertained, for me, it makes complete sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, let's see.
You just know you want to know what it is.
Let's see how they act. Jay, I'm reading Aaron's message to J Star here. Raise your vibrations. Yes. Okay. AA says thoughts about conversion therapy. That's, telling someone that they're not inverted or homosexual, right? If that's so, yes. I think that it should be treated as, treated for the issue that it is. If it was my own child, obviously I'm going to say, where were you abused? Who abused you? And where are they now? Because I will go in and take care of them. And do everything that I can to help him heal from that, to make sure that the Papa Bear demon didn't, get his claws in too deeply, and do absolutely everything I can to make sure that timeline does not happen. This is one of the things that I wanted to eventually talk to you guys about. The allegation that Team Satan and his inverts have more fun, and allowing my son, I don't have a son now, but basically have an idealized version of the future, and that's me having a son who becomes the king, right? So that's like my philosophy in life, my outlook in life, everything, my thoughts are based on that future and how I think that I should be as a mother, how I should, if I wouldn't support something for my own child, then I can't support that for anybody else. So this is what I'm going off of. And the allegation is that, my future son would have more fun if I allowed him to put on a dress and play on Team Satan. And, the powers that be, they do have the wealth. They don't have to go, the ones at the top of the pyramid obviously don't have to go and work 9 to 5s. There's inverts all the way at the bottom, even homeless ones, right? Like they try to trickle into every little group that they can, and all that. But anyways, so as I was saying here, they try to say that they have more fun, and to a certain extent, it's like, yeah, they do have the money, they have the fame, they have the power, but they are also having that at the cost of their soul. And it's my job as the mother of this soul that's coming in to do ultimately what's best for his soul. And what is best for his soul is not for him to put on a dress and then go have all of the riches of this world while being sodomized and sodomizing children. Like it's not worth his soul. And ultimately, as his mother, my concern is his soul, not how much fun he had. if you want to say how much fun has he had, you know, you're going to start giving him booze and drugs at a young age so that he can have lots of fun, right? Like he can just do whatever he wants, stay up all hours of the night, eat anything that he wants, watch whatever entertainment he wants. Like, no, that's not your job as a parent. Your job as a parent is to make sure that you guide that soul. And if, you know, thoughts come along and try to confuse him and say you want to wear a dress and it would be fun to paint your nails and all this stuff, you tell your child, like, these thoughts are not coming from you. There are demonic influences that whisper in your ear. You know, the media that they're watching is programming them, the people that they are around in schools. We are back to this again. You need to be really careful that you don't have inverted children around your child corrupting them. You don't have little child pedophiles in your child's class inviting him over for a sleepover where he can get alone with your child. It's a really scary world out there, and I'm not trying to be like overly paranoid or anything, but it's like scary stuff. Okay. Let me see.
Now we're gonna try.
Aaron says they just got me on sexual content for posting an invert with penis visible in jeans. Oh my god.
Do I have a driver? I can call you over for you. No. I would be glad to drive you. We don't have to start with this.
The ladies are getting finishing their little martinis. J Star says, is there a heaven or hell? Yes. Going up, higher vibrational state, down, lower vibrational state in general. And your actions will determine where you go at the end of your life. Hey, Ganged Up, how's it going? Aaron says Satan was around before those religions, has many names. Perhaps the best is the adversary, yes, or anti-creation. I wouldn't say he's anti-creation, but he is anti-human. You know, this world could essentially be a Jinn paradise and would be awesome. And even going further than that, the whole concept of the lake of fire or the eternal flame, what humans see as an absolute hell, these Jinn see as a paradise because they're beings of smokeless fire. So them going to this eternal flame is actually a paradise for them. They want to go there. And so, you know, on one hand, the Jinn have a vested interest in, you know, keeping the mother going, right? Keeping the mother's soul, empowering this world that we live in, because they can continue living. They can live for an extremely long amount of time. Like, I can't even put a number on it, because as long as they have somewhere in physical matter that they, you know, take refuge in, they can continue existing. So they definitely have a vested interest in keeping the mother going. So it's like they can also help to create the golden age. So people want to talk about, you know, being anti all this stuff is like, well, at the end of the day, they are magical genies, right? And they have a vested interest in keeping the mother's soul going, and what will keep her soul going is ultimately a golden age. So you can see how our goals align with different species as well.
Oh, yes.
It's the old state ranch, actually.
Okay.
It used to be owned by.
AA says, why is there no mention of the concept of reincarnation in Abrahamic scriptures and traditions? Well, that's an interesting question, but they don't have mention of a lot of things, right? Each religion only has a certain truth, and leaves out a lot of the truth. Other than that, J Star says, I see anti-creation when you say around before those religions would say, you say maybe in the Egyptian belief or green. I'm not sure what you're saying here, but I did want to mention that, you know, in the Venom movies, they're coming out with more the whole gooey, black goo type symbolism in, you know, people's dresses on the gala or whatever the heck, you guys know what I'm talking about. Showing demon possession, this dark energy, and that existed before Satan became who he is. So, you know, it's not that Satan was the founder of evil or any of this. This darkness, this evil existed before him, and ultimately, you know, it has infected him. It has infected. Just checking out what these ladies are drinking here. Infected Satan himself, and, you know, all of the entities that we are seeing with all of this evil going on, and the black goo nonsense in Truth in Plain Sight. Aaron says the original face of those religions, there is mention of reincarnation included but not limited to Christianity. Yes, absolutely. The original teachings do mention these things, but obviously not the more mainstream versions. Hey, Akshar, how's it going? AA says thoughts about life in heaven. That's interesting. Obviously, you know, in heaven, we think of this paradise. It's pretty much it. Obviously, you're not going to be having the turmoil of the day-to-day nonsense that we deal with here. But, you know, if our souls wanted to be in heaven, they would be in heaven. Well, I guess, unless you're a lower vibration, I don't know. So, you know, maybe if you're a lower vibrational soul and you can't quite raise your soul, your vibration of that might be different. But, you know, coming to this realm, being in this physical matter, there's obviously like things like sex and getting pregnant and going through childbirth and having a baby and all that stuff that we don't experience outside of this world. But also just the basic war between good and evil, right? It's something that we are experiencing here that we're not doing up in the higher realms. And, you know, at this point, it's a pretty desperate situation. I can only imagine sitting in heaven and looking down and seeing, you know, the darkness and depravity and devolution, becoming more like the devil. I don't know. Degrading of humanity, right? You're looking down and you're seeing how dark and dark and dark the world is getting. It's like, if you could go in there and do something about it, well, that's why we're here, right? So, yeah, I think that, you know, the heaven state could get a little bit boring, but that's just my opinion. I like to be here and battle, and more recently, especially during my dry fasting, I've been taking my battling to the chessboard, online chess, and it has been a blast, let me tell you. Like, not just dominating people in chess, but also they have like a chat feature where you can go and like taunt people. You like take their queen and then you type ouch and they send it to them. Just all sorts of trolling and fun that you can have while you beat people at chess. It's really fun. If you don't have the chess app, you should definitely get it. Chess Online. J Star says thoughts on astrology. I think there's a lot of truth in astrology. I don't have a in-depth, I've never studied astrology in-depth. I tend to think that, you know, most of the information that we're given, even as truthers, you know, so much of the information that we're given is gatekeeping, is partial truth, and they keep the real truth to themselves. And astrology is no different. Obviously, I was mentioning earlier, some of the Eastern cultures still only mention Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn as wandering stars. And then obviously, you know, I see the other planets as jokes. So I wouldn't want to, you know, put them into my, you know, I don't know. I haven't studied into it, but I think that there is definitely something to it. I think that the stars in general and the patterns of the stars, the moon, the sun, and the wandering stars all do have, you know, energies and different effects on us. When you were born, that specific time, there was, you know, a layout in the sky of at that specific moment that you came into this world. And I find natal astrology to be really, really awesome. I love to go. You can find your natal astrology chart online for free, and it'll tell you all about yourself. It's just really, really cool to see how true it is, right? Thoughts on the book of Enoch. I've mentioned the book of Enoch before and how it talks about the laws of luminaries, which is kind of tying back to the whole gatekeeping thing that I just talked about, how, you know, even when it comes to flat earth, the book of Enoch describes a square earth, and the flat earth models that we're shown are all like circular or that really thin little pizza disc flying through the sky, right? We're given like a partial truth when maybe there is more to the story. I don't subscribe to a map or model at this point because I can't freely, travel. But I really do like the idea of the laws of the luminaries. From Enoch, it talks about the sun and moon entering through portals on one side of the earth and then entering on one side and exiting through the other, right? So it could actually be that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west and hurries back to the place where it rises from, which is a verse in the Bible that would correspond with that. And another cool thing about the book of Enoch is that talks about Leviathan and Behemoth. A lot of people try to say that the Bible talks about dinosaurs or whatever. But the book of Enoch actually says that they are just two separate monsters, not a whole species of monsters. And so I think that was pretty cool. But yeah, AA says thoughts about the Noble Quran. I've never read the Quran, but I think that all of these religious texts that we are given have some truth in them. And yeah. Mike says, I'm going to call my dad, be right back. Hopefully that goes well. J-Star says, who is this Yah? Is that another word for creator? Yes. Yah is, from my Torah days, I came from a biblical background, and then, started studying the Torah and went into the whole name debate, whether it's Jesus or Yeshua. And yeah, I call Yah the creator, Yahuwah, Yahovah. Yeah. Okay. AA says thoughts about soulmates. It's an interesting topic that I don't really like to get too stuck. I have read before, it's kind of cool that someone differentiated between soulmates and twin flames, like a soulmate being like, if you call someone your mate, it doesn't mean that you're actually mating with them. It's like your friend. So they were saying kind of like your soulmate is like a soul friend, someone that comes into your life, over and over again. Whereas they were saying that a twin flame would be like when the soul was created, a counter soul was created with that. A male and a female soul brought into existence basically, at the same time to be with each other. And obviously it's a nice theory, but yeah, like I said, I don't really get too caught up on these types of teachings because people will, try to focus so much on that, seeing themselves as only a partial being. I would rather just focus on becoming the best version of yourself possible, and then whoever survives when we get into the golden age, then we can worry about, mating and all of that fun stuff. Thoughts about Pegasuses. I don't really have a thought about Pegasuses. Pegasi? I don't know. But like I was saying before, lots of mythological creatures have been created. I wouldn't be surprised at all if a flying horse, was created. There's been a lot of time under the dome. We've gone through a lot of creations, a lot of cycles, and it's pretty much like they say there's nothing new under the sun. Pretty much everything has been tried. It's depressing to talk about because we're getting like to the point so far away from source that we've been through everything, and people are like, all right, what's the point of this physical existence? Or we're not really learning anything new, and yeah, let's not really get into this depressing subject. Let's just make a golden age and reinvigorate the mother soul so that we can continue on again. Continue playing this game. It's fun. Okay. Aaron says Allah equals Father, and yes, God to the Muslims, the creator of this world. Mother is the Holy Spirit or wisdom, being Sophia, or philosophy means Philo equals love, or lover of Sophie, wisdom. Yes, Sophia, wisdom, justice, and love reign supreme. Aaron says, not necessarily in Islam, though that is more Gnostic or original philosophy from the ancient world, various understandings, different perspectives back then. Absolutely. Hey, Mr. JN, I answered your question earlier about the heaven and hell theory. They talking about, that's really good, right? They say, well, we'll either go to heaven or hell. How do we know if it's just a fear or tactic to make us afraid of death? I was trying to tell people that you shouldn't be afraid of death, obviously. And yes, if your soul does good, your vibration's going to be higher. You're going to go up when you die. If your soul is doing evil, you're lowering your vibration. You're going to go down. It's just the consequences of your actions. And yes, it is real. The powers that be, know the karmic mechanisms so they can, maneuver within the karmic mechanisms to do the evil that they're doing while not racking up bad karma for themselves. So it's like if you go into evil, then there's a certain amount of evil that is due unto you. And they say, no worries, will be the evil that is done unto them. And then, in that manner, they escape. They're acting as the evil, the consequence for your action. So, AA, thoughts about casual relationships. I do not encourage them at all. I see relationships as the only reason that I'm in the relationship, is ultimately because I want to be married and have a baby. So I'm not going to waste time. And right along with that, semen retention, absolutely. I talk about semen retention in my Transvestigation 101 video, and I'm definitely a big promoter of it. The powers that be, they know that if guys are sexually pleased, if they are smoking weed, then the likelihood that they step out and do anything in revolution goes down, right? So the more sexually frustrated you are, the more clear-headed you are, the more likely it is that you are going to be an uncontrolled problem, and obviously they don't want that. So you see pornography shoved down our throats at every corner, and the pornography that we are shoved down our throats is inverted pornography, and MTF with a real dude, or MTF with an MTF, or just blatant real male with a real male. Like, they are doing more and more, homosexuality to, even if you're just scrolling and you're forced to see this, it's like that picture goes into your mind and you can't take that back. Like, you can't remove something from your mind. So they're definitely trying to push more and more about this. But semen retention definitely should be promoted. It will definitely help our war efforts to have that happen. AA says, is the afterlife metaphorical? No, a real thing. Your soul leaves, continues on after this. Michael says, I'm back. Hey, hopefully your call went well. Thoughts about human souls possessing non-human souls. That's interesting. I don't know that human souls can possess other souls. It's more of a demonic thing. Yeah. It's an interesting question. Okay. Mr. JN says, hope you get married one day and become a mother. No, I hope so too, but this world needs to change before then. J-Star says, are you in a library? I'm actually at the Shastina golf course. I'm inside today. So it's a restaurant, and there's a table right in front of me with some ladies drinking martinis, and then there's a table over there with some good dudes chatting about golf. Bobby says, I love playing chess. I'm not good at it, but I love it. Bobby, you should get the online app and get better. They also have a chess tactics app that you can get on and practice tactical chess, and that'll definitely help your playing. I've found that it's like, I obviously have a different method of playing than the tactics. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. They'll like tell me to sacrifice my queen, and I'm like, no, I don't want to sacrifice my queen. It's kind of fun. People will take my knight or something. I'll message them like, I will avenge my knight, and then I go up and trade my pawn over for a knight. It's like, he has been avenged. Yeah, I have so much fun. Okay.
It's fish eggs.
Ganged Up says planets make good tools. Yes, in your magical rituals, if that's what you mean, absolutely agree. Aaron says Mason symbology also shows the moon being powered from below. There's square and compass. There's a connection to that symbol as above, so below. Yeah, and also with the square and compass, if you think about, the square being the outside, a square Earth, and then the compass being a circle in the middle, that's obviously, would be a truth in plain sight if that's the situation. And, having the four corners of the Earth. And yeah, it's really exciting to talk about this. A lot of Commonwealth, AA says a lot of Commonwealth countries use mate instead of friend. Yes. Aaron says, Inanna, will these hybrids, Nephilims, descendants of the giants, be held karmically responsible like humans are? I know that they work around karmic law, I think you must say. Yeah. Getting us to sin, but not sure. Yes. Oh, yeah, you say karmic law. Yes. If they do things that are against the karmic system, then yes, the mother has her own set of rules, and if you misbehave, if you do something wrong, there's always consequences for her rules. But like you said, they do try to work as much within the karmic mechanisms as they can so that they don't have it. Ganged Up says, what is karma really? Like I just said, the mother's rules. All matter is the mother. Omnimatter ergo logos. Sophia's soul powers all of this reality that we live in, and what she says goes. So if you don't like it, take it up with her. You know what she might just say? If you don't like my rules, then stay out of my house, kiddo. Okay. Mr. Shagan says the company of DC Universe is pushing the homosexual agenda. They are ruining the shows we loved as kids. Yes. I think I seen, what was it, like Superman or the Son of Superman or something that was like making out with another dude. No, not cool. My friend Todd's walking in here. It's pretty much taking everything that was once, well, we kind of thought it was pure, right? But then again, even the original version of these things were inverts. If you look through cartoons, especially, the more modern ones, they're actually making the animations, the male characters have female features and the female characters have masculine features, in their cartoons. It's not surprising, but it's obviously there. It says, in the Islamic faith traditions, they believe that Prophet Muhammad commuted on an animal they call a buraq, a flying horse-like creature. That's really cool. I like to hear about different religions and their different myths. I think it's like Norse mythology that talks about the moon and the sun being pulled in chariots by these horses. And it talks about the moon, the horse that pulls the moon, like there's something at the end of his track and he's like salivating for it. And that's why there's dew in the morning, which is pretty cool way to, mythologize. I don't think that's a word, but anyways, coming up with a cute little story of why there's dew on the ground in the morning. And we know that the moon is a wedding light opposite of the sun, and like yin and yang. It's really loud on here for as little as people's in here. Okay. Mike said the call went well. Thank you. Awesome. Ganged Up says, and God told Moses to stand behind him to show him his big goodness too. It had wheels. Please let me know how those drinks are. What is the ladies' equivalent to semen retention? That is a good question because it's not equal to what happens to women. It's not equal to what happens to men. but I've never really looked into it myself. I'm not at a point in my, like, I'm not in a relationship, so I'm not really worried about this for me. But I do encourage, guys, especially in this culture where masturbation is so prevalent and it's seen as everybody does it, so why don't you? It's like, first of all, you realize that you're being watched by the spiritual world, right? They're watching everything that you do, so it's kind of embarrassing that you're doing that, and especially if you are doing it to inverts. If you're sitting there watching a dude in a dress and another dude get it on, then that's embarrassing to your soul. Bobby says my games always end in stalemate. Yes. That is definitely frustrating. Unfortunately, I've had a lot of people that just won't play me until the end. They keep giving up. So, yeah. Please just keep playing. Let me dance around with you and get the checkmate. And then they don't feel like they want to have that humiliation. A says thoughts about the law of attraction. I definitely think that there is truth to it. The energy that you put out is what is going to be coming to you, and ultimately we manifest our own reality. So, it definitely has truth to it. Thoughts about the law of assumption. I have no idea what the law of assumption is. Let's see what it is really quick here. The law of assumption defines a state of mind where one assumes his or her wants, wishes, and aspirations have been fulfilled. Well, it's kind of like the law of attraction. It would fall right in line with the law of attraction, and having your mind determined and having your mind set that this is the timeline that you are going towards. And obviously, the more focused that you have your mind on manifesting something, the more likely it is to come true. Keeping our minds focused on the golden age and getting more humans to actually join and unite together to have this united vision, united dream is definitely a struggle. Getting humans to step up to the plate and actually, do something other than sit and watch football and eat bacon and, say what is the truth about the shape of the earth matter. AA says thoughts about the Palestinians and the Israelis warring against each other. How long has that been going on for, huh? Crazy. Obviously, I've talked in my previous videos about Hitler being controlled opposition, an invert Rothschild puppet being this, in this position of controlled opposition, just like Trump, right? They're pretending to go against the system, pretending to go against the Rothschild while actually being related, being put in that position by them in the first place. And Hitler and the whole situation being used to establish the current state of Israel that doesn't fulfill biblical prophecies and, has caused all of this war between these two groups of people. Not just that, caused so much catastrophe over the whole world, with their little, everybody come and kiss our wall nonsense. Okay, yeah. AA says, heard that they disclose their stuff for karmic balance. Yes, it's kind of like if they come up and say, hey, we're going to play a joke on you, and then they play a joke on you, I guess you can be mad at them, but it's like how much karma is on their hands, right? They warned you ahead of time. They told you, hey, this is going to happen, and you didn't listen. They can sit back and say, well, that person's an idiot and didn't listen. Why are we in trouble for them not getting out of the way? Yeah, we sent the wave, but we said, hey, there's a wave coming, and they didn't get out of the way. So is it our fault that they died? So yeah, it definitely does work to that. It also kind of like, you know, if you take a step back and realize that we are the entertainment, we are being watched by the watchers. There's a show going on, and we are, you know, either awake or asleep. We're either the butt of the joke, or we're actually, you know, being impressive characters for the spiritual world to watch. Obviously, someone who is completely asleep, who goes to work a 9 to 5 every day, who comes home and masturbates to inverts, and then, you know, eats ice cream and falls asleep, is gonna be in comparison to somebody, you know, who knows where they live, who knows that they're a soul, who knows all of these truths, and then, you know, top it off with they're a great chess player. You can see that the spiritual world is going to be like, let's watch this person instead of the fat slob over here who knows nothing, who does nothing, and, you know. But my point was that the whole, you know, them putting their stuff in ahead of time also kind of like is a foreshadowing thing. If you are one of the watchers watching the show, it's like they're putting these signs in before it happens. So for them, it would act as foreshadowing does in the movies that we enjoy today. I don't know if you guys enjoy movies. I like to watch movies. I know that it's programming, and it gets pretty hard to watch when you are just looking at the TV screen. It's like, oh, they're just inverts everywhere and they're obvious. It's just real bad. Mr. JN says, can you explain the 7 chakras and the third eye? Well, your third eye, your pineal gland, your connection to your soul, ultimately any being with a third eye has a soul. So, you know, cows, chickens, pigs, they all have it. They all have these energy systems in the body, and that's ultimately what your chakras are, these energy points. And, you know, the 7 ones are the main ones that they focus on, but there are also different ones throughout the body. And, you know, your root chakra is at the base of your spine. Your crown chakra is at the top. And how opened or closed they are is not only going, like, it's going to affect how you interact with the world, how connected you are, you know. But I also know that coming into this world, if your chakras are completely open, you're also, you know, at a disadvantage in that they're more easily attacked. So having them closed off can be a defense mechanism, and opening them, I think, should be when the time is right. A lot of people, you know, want to rush into what they would consider new age teachings and do, you know, guided meditations and stuff from people on YouTube, which, you know, 9 times out of 10, well, it's probably like 9.9 times out of 10, you know, the person that they're clicking on is going to be an invert, you know, whatever spiritual things they're trying to click on, it's like going to be made by an invert, just because that's how our reality works, right? And then Satan can say, oh, well, guess how many people's chakra systems I woke up by this one video, because he is the person on the other side of the screen, right? But anyways, what I'm saying is that I think that it should be, you know, opening your chakras and your third eye. There's a time for it. It shouldn't be rushed. And I do think that there are, you know, lots of demonization surrounding these topics, especially in the truther community. They want to label it New Age. But even in the Bible, it talks about, you know, your third eye. If your eye is single and full of light, that's referencing your third eye being fully aware, being full of light, right? And as far as the New Age thing goes, like I said before, their own Bible talks about a New Age. When the tribulation ends, Satan is thrown into the pit for 1,000 years, and there's a New Age where Christ is in charge, and, you know, he wipes away everyone's tears, and there's peace on earth, and the wolf and the lamb lay together, and all of that stuff. So AA says, thoughts about the Bermuda Triangle? I really don't have any thoughts about the Bermuda Triangle. Yeah, I've never really felt drawn to look into it. But yeah, maybe I'll look into it for next week. Aaron says many Jews around the world, including Israel, are against Zionism. Yes. Fritz Springmeyer makes all connections to the elites, including Hitler and many more to the Rothschild dynasty and other ruling elite families. Oh, nice. There's like a whole bunch of truthers that their leader pushes that Hitler was a good person, you know, and yeah, it's sad. Definitely just another controlled opposition. How many truthers, you know, try to say that Trump is good? They've been deceived by Trump. So yeah, probably need to wrap this up here, guys, because I'm camping at this table. A says thoughts about the settler the settler states. I don't really have any specific thoughts about that, other than the fact that this land has been fought over by many, many groups of people, even giants. So, yeah, it's a constant battle and has been going on for a very long time. Humans want to say that they, you know, lay stakes to this little plot of land. Well, ultimately, the only things that are yours that you own are the things that you're willing to fight, kill, and die over. You know, this world, even if you pay off your land, if you're still paying taxes to the powers that be, like, you don't own your property. So, all right, I'm gonna skim through here really quick, and I'm gonna get ready to head off. See you later, Michael. Thanks for joining. Okay. I am going to get ready to head off. I'm going to go home and play some online chess. I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys. If you have any more questions, I will definitely be back Sunday at noon. So make sure that you mark your calendar, maybe set an alarm in your phone, so that you can check up with me and join the live chat on Sunday at 12 p.m. PST. So until then, I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. And like I said, if you have any questions or anything, make sure that you get them to me, and I will be back again Sunday at noon. Have a wonderful weekend. May God and the Goddess bless you.
You have to work.